Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion. For My Love is Blind, Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2, a recap and review. And guys, I want to let you know that if this is your first time finding me and you do happen to like this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'm right there about to cross 40,000 subscribers, and I can only do that with your help. But I am so excited to be talking about another season of Love is Blind. I think it is a very entertaining show. At the very least, I did not see season 2, but I did watch season 1, watching it on my couch a few years ago when it premiered during the pandemic like everybody else. And I was saying to myself, what in the world is going on? What is wrong with these people here? I mean, how can you get married to somebody that you don't even see, that you've never even met before, that you've only been talking to for a total of 10 days? That seems crazy. Now, me, myself, B. Avery, I am no love, romantic relationship expert over here. I'm still single myself, so I can't judge anybody, and I'm not doing that here, or I won't do that in the past or in the future. But man, I am really looking forward to getting to all these episodes right now, because while I did see season 1, it was very, very entertaining, and I believe it. I didn't think these were just a bunch of actors up there just trying to get some screen time for clout for further roles, even though in season 3 there may be a little hint of deception, and we're going to talk about that when we get to it. But I am really, really excited about this, especially because some of the couples from season 1 are still married today. So who knows? Who says that you can't find love on a television show, at the mall, in the grocery store, at a bar, wherever? I remember years ago, people was like, online dating, are you serious? What if they're a psychopathic killer and you end up disappearing or something? But now it seems like you're crazy if you don't have a dating app. And so I guess a few years from now, it's going to seem crazy if you don't go on a dating reality show like Love is Blind. I don't think we're going to make it that far, but you get what I'm saying. But we're back, and we have a brand new guest of 30 contestants that are looking for love, 15 men and 15 women. And something that is kind of frustrating about the show so far, I will go ahead and get this out the way, that I wish that at least in the first episode, we got a chance to meet. We got a chance to know, even if it's brief, even if it's only 30 to 45 seconds, that we got to know every man and every woman, all 15 of them. And I will say that we don't get that at all. We only get about half, and that is a bit disappointing. I will say that I am a bit biased in my judgment there, because I do know someone that is part of season 3. I won't say who, but I was just saying to myself, man, I wish I could have seen them get a little bit more screen time. It may come out on accident as I'm going over these recaps, and it's not a big deal, but I did want to see more of the contestants, especially the black ones. They really didn't get any shine. I mean, I love women and all different sizes, shapes, and colors and all that, but I did want, I mean, they have the diversity here. They show them, but it's brief. We don't really get any screen time, any development with them, and that is a bit disappointing. But it does make sense that the show is only gonna show what people want to see, whether that's drama, a juicy conversation, couples hooking up, or breaking up. They're not going to show a dull, boring conversation, or if someone doesn't meet or link up, or someone doesn't make a match. You don't want to force relationships on people. And so, I mean, hey, if people just don't match, there's probably nothing to show. But I still wish that we could have got more. And these lovely contestants are Ashley, Brendan, Nancy, Anthony, Tony, Brannigan, shout out to Brannigan, nice chocolate sister, Nash, Zach, Bartice, Simmer, SK, Amanda, Kalikia, I like that name. I've never heard anything like that before. Lauren, Matt, Kimberly is nice on the eyes too. Jessica, Davante, Raven looks great. Dale, Alexa, Zanab, Andrew, Valerie, Sharita, Dakota, Chelsea, Colleen, Cole, and Julian. Now, did we get to know all 30 of those guests? No, we did not. But the ones that we did see, I liked them for the most part. They were cool, and they will be able to catch my attention for the rest of the show. I don't think they've done anything or going to do anything that's just going to turn me off. Like, oh God, I don't want to watch this no more. Turn the TV off. But guys, these couples, as you know, they have 10 days to get to know each other. The first day, they go on 15 dates, and that can be quite challenging to where you only hear their voice and you have a pen and paper to write down notes on who your potential favorite mate may be. But starting off with just some of my favorite characters, I really do like Bartise. He seems cool. We really don't get to know all of the males, like I said, but Bartise is 25 years old. He's about 26 now because they did film this show last May of 2021. But Bartise does seem like a cool dude. He does seem like somebody that I would possibly hang out with if I had to choose. Everybody else, I necessarily can't say that, but I do like all of the energy that Bartise is giving out on screen. And it seems like a lot of the ladies in the house are feeling him too, especially when it comes to Nancy and also when it comes to Raven. Now, these women are both very, very attractive. If we're just basically going off of looks, I will probably lean more towards Raven, but if we had to go more personality, I would lean more towards Nancy. But they do seem like great, fine women, and so hopefully they can find love in this experiment. I just couldn't see myself going on a reality dating show to where I'm exposing myself to the country, to the world, with all of my personal business. For you people that are able to do that, that's great, but I just don't think I have the kahunas to do something like that, to be all emotional and vulnerable on screen for people to pick at you. I don't know, it's just nothing that I think I can do. And early on, as we're getting to know Nancy, and she is very developed, I might say. I mean, they really are focusing on that midsection of her. She was really getting emotional just talking about all of the fails that she had in dating, and she just started crying on camera, and I felt a bit sorry for her. You know, I want her to win. She seems like a really nice woman, a very bubbly personality, someone that you can have a lot of fun with, introduced to mom, and there will be no problem. She seems very caring and nurturing, seems like she could be a good mother, and so I'm rooting for Nancy. I do want her to win. As far as Raven is concerned, she's 27 years old, or at least at the time of this filming, and she does look great. I will say, out of all of the women that got the most screen time, I am the most attracted to her physically. Now, I say, but Brannigan's up there too. Brannigan does look good. You know, they got a few nice shots of her walking around in the back, the chocolate sister with the pink dress on. But for me, I don't know much more about Raven, but as she was getting to know Bartise, she was a little reticent, a little skeptical to let her know that she kind of works in the service industry as a bottle girl, and Bartise kind of thought that she was stripping or something like that, and they had a little joke. Now, there was a bit of corniness that came from both of them that I'll talk about in episode 2, like, oh no, what are you guys doing? Like, why would you do that? And again, I'm not judging nobody because I've done some silly things in my dating life as well. But it is getting exciting to get to know Raven, as she is a 27-year-old, like I said, Pilates instructor. And from the parts that we did see, she's pretty good at that. She's pretty good at that. Seems kind of shallow at times. She says that she really likes men with muscles. So guys, if you're in the vicinity of Miss Raven, if she did or did not find love in this show and you hit the gym, I don't know, maybe if you bump into her at the grocery store or Blockbuster, I wish they still have those around, and you do a little flex on her like, ugh, you may be able to pull that number. Go ahead, shoot your shot. No, I am just joking. But I don't know, while Raven did look good on the outside, I got a lot of hater vibes from her when they were going back to the women's quarters and they were going back and forth just talking about all their dates and the experiences and who they like and don't like, who they're connected with, etc. She seemed like she was throwing a little bit of shade towards Nancy, a little bit of hate, like, Nancy's over there being all secret and private and doesn't want to let anybody know something. And when they cut the camera back over to Nancy, she's like, okay, hey, if I hear the name Bartise, I'm gonna perk up and just kind of listen and see what's going on. And she was saying, hey, I'm feeling Bartise. I like him. I know that Raven is feeling him too. We all have a connection. But hey, if Raven shoots her shot at Bartise, I'm just gonna let Bartise handle that. And that's when I fell in love with Nancy. I was like, yes, that is the proper way to handle something. You're not throwing shade. You're not throwing hate. You're not throwing any disses out there. It's just like, hey, let the best person win. Let the best woman win. We're both here trying to compete for love. Fair is fair, and we just both need to shoot our shot and let this person decide. and that's the way it should be done. And so that's why I'm liking Nancy a little bit more than Raven. Now, some of the other couples that we have right here are Brennan and Alexa. They hit it off immediately, and I loved it, especially because they had like a nice food collection. And Alexa was just letting her know, like, hey, I like a big family. I'm one of 6, and I have a little half sister that's 3 years old. I forgot the exact age. She spent the night with me the day before I got here, and I just need somebody that's able to agree with me on a fundamental level. Brennan is like, hey, what do you mean on a fundamental level? Well, that I'm Jewish. I'm not super duper religious, but again, that is something that's very important to me. And they both did have a full connection. I thought it was cute when she was like, hey, can we just go ahead and get married right now? And Brennan started laughing like, oh yeah, we can. But at first, let me think about it, because he's also connecting with Colleen, and we're going to talk about her in a second. But also coming from Brennan, it was just really sad because he said that his parents split up when he was about 6 months old, and there was no screaming or arguing or fighting, but he can still feel the hate between his biological mother and father when there's drop-offs, when there's pickups. And he says that it really hurt him, and at night he would cover his head with his pillow and blankets and just kind of cry himself to sleep. And that's just one of the reasons why family is just so important to him. And it's just really interesting. I mean, we have all this fun with dating and talking about sex and drinking and all that stuff, but at the same time, these characters, these contestants, these guests are really pouring out all of their soul to the world, you know, to be vulnerable, to be embarrassed, just to be put on Front Street potentially. And that just takes a lot of courage. But again, it is really entertaining. But speaking about Brandon, he is not just feeling Alexa, he is feeling Miss Colleen as well. And she's very young, in her mid-20s, 25 years old, cute as a button, and she is a professional ballet dancer. Now, if you just say that to any male, he's going to be like, "Care? What's going on? Say that again." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I can bust out the splits and I can lean this way. And my friends told me that it seems like I'm passing gas." And she got a lot of laughs out of that. But it's cute. I mean, anybody is going to be interested in a ballet instructor because of what you're going to be thinking about. Pinning those legs against your shoulders, against the wall, against the headboard, all of that. I mean, that is not just one of the reasons she's saying that. I mean, she's also saying that because, I mean, it is your career and you want to get to know somebody. I mean, you're getting to know them through a wall, so you got to lay all of this out. And I was just kind of like, it was interesting to me. I mean, you know, of course, we all go on first dates. Sex is not anything that I ever bring up. I only talk about that when the women brings it up. I mean, women are the gatekeepers of sex. You don't want to come across as a creep or, you know, that's the only thing that you're interested in or anything like that. So at the very beginning, I let the women lead that, and I just kind of like follow their lead until we kind of grow more or rapport. That's just me. A lot of you may beat me up in the comments like, "Oh, you shouldn't do it that way," whatever. But there was another young lady in this. She was talking to Simmer, and I forgot her name. She was 34. She was fine as hell. She was a sister, and she was like, "Yeah, I like 69, 69, and I don't like being on top." Dude was like, "Why not?" And I'm just like, she says, "Oh, because it's a lot of work." Ladies, don't. That's just lazy. That's just not good. Of course, if you want the male to be on top most of the time, that's going to work out. That's going to be fine. Most males are just happy to be getting any anyway. But if you're just lazy and you never want to get on top, I mean, come on. But at the same time, that can also depend on how much the woman likes you and is attracted to you and all that. I mean, the more she's attracted to you and respectful, the more she's going to open up in the bedroom. But still, this is not anything that I would just divulge on a first date like, "Oh, I'm lazy, I don't never want to get on top." But I'm a man, she's a woman. But I was just saying all this because I'm like, whoa, they're really getting into the nitty gritty on day one of the first day. Like, "Oh, I love 69, but I'm saying to myself, okay, that is important because, you know, you only have 10 days to get to know somebody. And if you are not sexually compatible, it is not going to work. It's just not going to work. I mean, you know, you have the heart and mind, but you also got to be attracted to somebody physically, which makes this whole experience just so bizarre to me. Now, we also got to talk about Zanab. I do like Zanab. Zanab is cool. Zanab is very attractive, and she's 31 years old. I don't remember off the top of my head what her profession was, but I do like Zanab, and I did feel sorry for her, man, because life is not fair. Kind of like I was just talking about Brandon, how his parents split when he was 6 months old. For me, I grew up in a 2-parent household, and I'm just very blessed that I was able to experience that, and most people aren't, like Zanab. And I don't necessarily remember if she said her parents were still married or divorced, when she was a teenager. And it just really broke my heart when Zainab said that her parents passed away when she was 13 and 18 years old. I can't remember exactly what order. I think she said her dad passed when she was 13 and her mom passed when she was 18 years old. I'm just like, God damn, man, that's just not fair. That's not fair. It's just, life sucks sometimes. I mean, life can be a beautiful, fulfilling thing, but it can also be a horrible, daunting mess for some people. But she looks like she has her head on straight on her shoulders, and she seems like she's just doing fine. But, you know, looks can be deceiving. But I just felt really bad for her. And I think she was talking to Cole at that time. It was either Cole or it was Bartice, but I think she was giving that story to Cole, and he was like, man, you really have a story, you know, and while you're having fun on these dates, you just have to, while you're getting to know somebody and all the nice, you know, fun stuff, you know, you also have to cut in these childhood traumas that people go through, and it can be a 180 transition and just kind of knock you off your rocker. But at the same time, that is necessary because you have to make a decision, or well, you don't have to, but you know, these couples are only knowing each other for 10 days. And so that's just a lot to take in. That's a lot to swallow. Now we also have SK, a brother up in here, 34 years old, from Nigeria, and he is a data engineer. And SK is cool. SK is cool. SK is cool. But it kind of turned my face up a bit in a negative way later on in episodes 1 or 2 when we were talking about Raven, and she was like, oh, I don't know. When I first was getting to know you, SK, you kind of seemed like a square. And I was just like, man, you know, don't judge a book by its cover. You ain't even seen this dude yet. You're only going off of his vibe and his voice, you know. And I understand where SK is coming from. He's just saying like he just wants a well-read, educated woman. Doesn't have to be a super genius, but has a bit of common sense. And I think all men want something like that. I think we can all appreciate a woman, of course, that does have some brains. He said on one date he went on a woman, like, asked him, hey, do you have a tiger in the backyard or just roaming around? And I can understand how that can be annoying. And he just wants a woman that doesn't think that the whole continent of Africa is a country. No, there's 54 different countries with tons of different tribes and languages and cultures and all that. It is not just the same. All black people are not the same around the globe in the diaspora. Shout out to SK. Now we got to talk about Andrew a bit. This guy right here looks like he takes care of himself, looks like he's in the gym. He is very well dressed, seems like he's very educated, and the thing about it, he just seems completely artificial to me. I'm not trying to hate on this dude or anything like that, but my goodness gracious, I haven't seen somebody that bragged on all of their accomplishments like this in quite some time. It's like, yes, I went to Bali and I spent some time in the wilderness and the jungles, and I woke up to the deceased carcasses cooking in the sun, and I like the finer things in life, whether it's luxurious travel, clothing, food. Yuck, 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 yuck. After college, I chased money, and it just wasn't fulfilling, so I took on a role and wanted to travel the world. I was here for 3 months, I was here in 3 months, and let me give you just a little bit of poetry and yada, yada, yada. Look, all that is cool, but I just did not really like his delivery. It just kind of seemed fake. It kind of seemed artificial, but hey, what do I know? Because Miss Nancy was feeling it. She was over there fanning herself like, oh my God, I'm getting wet. I love it. And he's talking about kissing and talking about orgasms without ejaculating. And, you know, he talking about kissing on the nipples. And hey, I think we should both enjoy that. And I dated a 41-year-old woman, and she taught me, and it learned a lot. And, you know, Nancy's over here. She's eating it up. I'm over here like this. You know, but she's liking it. So, hey, it may not be my cup of tea. I probably wouldn't put that foot forward, you know, when I'm trying to shoot my shot. But, hey, do what you do, you know. Andrew has his own level and strategy of game, and game is strategy to get what you want. And did he get what he want? Well, not necessarily. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Or I guess we'll find out in episode 3. And now we got to talk about Cole. Cole is the 26-year-old realtor that wants 7 kids. He loves God, and he is ready to pop this family out. I mean, this guy, he was going on a date with Nancy, with Colleen, with a lot of people, and a lot of them was really feeling him. He seems kind of childish, but mature at the same time. I was feeling his personality, but at the same time, like later on in episode 2, it just seemed like he was running around screaming just a little bit too much and more of that immature side. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. But man, why you gotta hate on my girl Brannigan like that, Cole? Like talking about, oh, she's 34, beautiful, critical care nurse. I'm loving all that. He was like, oh, I can't do nurses. And she's like, what? Why? like, you can't do nurses? The way she flipped back on that couch like, I was tripping out. I was laughing. And Brannigan, I must say, if you are seeing this, ma'am, you have a beautiful smile. Keep it up. I love it. I love it. I love it. I wish they would have gave you more screen time. They tripping. They tripping on the sisters. They tripping on the black people. And Cole, you tripping because you passed out on a good one. I'm sure you should have shot your shot with Brannigan. But it was also kind of funny. The next shot, he was like talking to some girl. I think her name was Nancy. And he was like, oh, you're a beer girl? And she's like, yeah, I like beer with olives. And he was like, yuck. But it's funny because while Cole was dissing people, Alexa, that was feeling Brandon, she wasn't feeling Cole either. He's like, hey, what do you like? Or no, he didn't say, what do you like? He was like, who would win, a bear or a gorilla, a grizzly bear or a gorilla? And he's like, you know, the gorilla got the muscles, but the bear can just bite. And she was like, you know, I'm not trying to be an ass, but I'm just, you know, no. And she really wasn't feeling him. So I kind of got like a little chuckle out of that. But as we're getting to the end of this first episode, it sucks because while Brandon and Colleen were making a bit of a connection, he shot her down. He was like, hey, you was cool. We talked. We had fun. But I think I'm feeling somebody else. And she exit stage left and ended up crying. And I was like, man, rejection does suck. But why are you so emotional off somebody that you never met? I mean, I would see if this was at the altar, but, you know, I'm not going to pretend like I've never cried over my heart being broken before. But this was only after a day or two. And so it's always nice, too, when you see women, when they go back to the quarters and they're, you know, trying to protect each other, like, oh, it'll be okay, baby, and all this and all that. And I'm just like, man, men won't be doing anything like that. Again, not judging, but I also found that interesting. It also does suck, too, because Cole and Colleen were kind of having a little match as well, but they're both young, especially Colleen. And she was saying, hey, I don't want to get too deep in my relationships or anything like that. And Cole had to kind of cut her loose too, like, hey, I mean, you're cool, but I'm just looking for something more right now, and you're not it, basically. And then she goes off and cries again. I'm just like, what's going on? Like, how can you be so emotionally attached to two people? Like, it sucks. You know, you get your feelings hurt, but like, I don't know. That's just kind of like weird to me, but you guys let me know what you think. But it's all cool in the game because after the third attempt, she ended up really matching and doing well with Matt. I think he's 27 years old. And so that seems like a good pair right there. I like that. And I hope that they end up making a great relationship too. But guys, by the end of the first episode, Brandon and Alexa are already hitting it off. He proposed. She said yes. And they barely get to see each other at the end of the episode. I like that. And I will say this just stood out to me. While we're getting to know Alexa, and I'm only talking about this because she talked about it, but it seems like she is a bit insecure about her weight. And I will say this, ladies, if you are insecure about your weight, and this is, I mean, I'm not speaking for all males, I wouldn't necessarily bring it up because it just shows a bit insecurity. If you do feel that way, if you are confident, that will make you physically more attractive to the male or whoever you're trying to pull. I mean, that's just kind of the way we're wired, you know, to where let's just say a woman is a certain size. I'm not going to depict it exactly, but a certain size. And the woman is not necessarily happy with that. That may not be the most appealing to the male or the opposite sex. However, if you are confident in yourself, you will become more physically attractive to the male. It's like a mental Jedi mind trick. And I think that's just the case with anybody. No matter how big, small you are, if somebody is confident and doesn't give a crap, that makes them more attractive. I mean, I've seen I've seen larger men and larger women still have healthy dating lives and still be able to pull whatever. I mean, I've seen men that are 300 pounds with a gut still be able to pull a woman with a six-pack or something like that because they're confident and they don't give a crap. And so the reason I'm saying all this is because it just stood out to me. She was just saying like, okay, yeah, I could lose a few pounds, but I just don't want to. Why are you bringing it up? You shouldn't even said it in the first place. And when she was finally about to meet Brennan, you know, she has her nice wedding or gown dress on, and she was like, I'm curvy. I'm not for everybody, but hopefully I'm for Brennan. You saying those words right there just kind of shows me that you're just a little bit insecure. Whatever, I'm not 100% secure with everything over here as well, but I'm just saying, you know, put your best foot forward. If you show more confidence, it will help you out in the future. Hopefully I do not get beat up too much in the comments for that commentary. But I am happy that they got together and they was able to find love. But like I said, Bartise and Raven are getting along. They're having a good time going on second and third dates. So I love all of that. Another thing that was interesting is when Bartise was on the second date with Nancy, she did explain to him that she was an egg donor and that she even lost friends in the past because they just didn't approve of that and said that's not the Christian way to go and that's not how God deemed pregnancy. And he didn't have a problem with that at all. He thought it was pretty cool. And I thought that, you know, she signed the papers when he was 18 that the kids can come and look her up. But Bartise was open to a lot of stuff. And that's kind of why I like him, because he doesn't seem like he's judging people. He just seems like he's really genuinely there to try to find love, because he didn't judge her on the donating of the eggs. Bartise did not judge Raven as far as her being in the service industry. So, you know, Bartise is one of my favorite characters so far in the show. And like I said, Brandon and Alexa, they on their third or fourth date right now. They not already proposed and they getting married. I know I already spoke about that. But it seemed like Cole and Colleen did hit it off at first, but no, he ended up giving her the boot, which is unfortunate. Now, please forgive me. I know Cole had on the socks and they had the turtles on it, but I can't remember if he was talking to Colleen or Zanab when she called out, hey, I think you have turtles on your socks. I think it was a nab. And I was saying to myself at that point in time, okay, this is great. They're going to hit it off. They're going to be a well put together couple and live happily ever after. But at least they're going to make it to the altar. If they, you know, live happily ever after, we're just going to have to see. But it was a nice match made in heaven so far as what I can see. And y'all, I cannot believe this happened right here. I was just like, what are you doing, woman? What are you doing? Because I was really feeling Bartise and Raven. I mean, we get to know them as the viewers. We get to see what they look like. So I was just saying to myself, not only are y'all matching on an intellectual level, but you guys are going to look physically good together as well. You both like to work out. They don't know that about each other. Of course, that's the only thing that we can see. And it was just so crazy when Bartise was trying to tell his story to Raven about their trip to Hawaii and how his mother's ex-fiance was trying to sing her a song in front of her current husband, and how the crap hit the fan, and just how open Bartise was, and he dropped his guard. And we cut over to the next scene, and your girl Raven is working out. She's doing jumping jacks and throwing her arms back and forth. I'm like, are you serious? How disrespectful. Why would you do something like that? So crazy and bizarre. That would have turned me off too. I didn't like that at all. I was like, that was a huge red flag, huge red flag. And it sucks sometimes because some people can be feeling each other and it just be one little thing that somebody does that can end the relationship and end the date. And that's what she clearly did right there, you know, with her jumping around. And yeah, Bartise wasn't feeling that, and he let her know, and that was the end of that relationship. When he was getting the interview, he was like, look, you know, I'm up here being vulnerable and telling all my personal business, and you're over there working out, doing jumping jacks. My gut tells me that you're not the right one for me. And I feel him on that. I really, really do. And so when the next time they met up, he kind of gave her the boot. And she was just kind of saying to herself, yeah, I made the same decision. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that she was just kind of trying to save face, but I could be wrong. You guys let me know what you think. But when they came back around, when they was saying that they wasn't a match for each other, I thought it was kind of corny on his point to go and put money all over the floor. Yeah, I got some money, and I don't maybe because that was just kind of corny to me. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I mean, it was cute earlier. She had yoga balls and all of that, and I don't know. They just both kind of stepped on each other's toes right there. But hey, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But we're in episode 2 right now, and Colleen and Matt are meeting each other. And Matt said he was married before, 18 years old, and was divorced by 24. But who is hitting it off right now? SK and Raven. Raven and SK. And to be honest with you, I just don't feel it. Because for one, I don't think they're physically compatible. Raven is much more in shape than SK. I'm not saying that it won't work, but just looking at them two, I just don't see where it's going to go. And it just kind of seems like they're only matching because of default. Like there's nobody else available. It kind of just seems like Raven, you know, doesn't want to leave empty handed or something like that. Or just like, okay, you know, what's the best that I can get? I mean, I feel that like when they're having their conversation, there's no passion or love. It seems like they're just matching on a checkbox. Like, okay, hey, I like this, you like this too. But there's just no chemistry in between them. And we're going to see how that plays out if, you know, he does propose and she says yes and they meet each other towards the end of the episode. But for right now, I'm not feeling it, and it does seem like it's going to fall into shambles. But SK does end up proposing to Raven, and why is she playing games? She seemed like she was about to walk out the door. I'm like, oh damn, oh crap. But she comes back, yes, yes. Like, man, why leave him hanging like that? I don't know. That was just really interesting to me. You guys let me know what you think. And even right before that, you know, Matt and Colleen, they say to each other like they love each other, and I can't believe I'm so in love with you. I'm just like, man, how can y'all just be in love, you know, just so early? But hey, you know, what do I know? I'm not a relationship expert. So at this time, we have Colleen and Matt. We have Raven and SK. We have Brandon and Alexa. And now let's talk about Nancy, Andrew, and Bartice. Which one is she going to choose, or are they going to choose her? Now, I thought it was really cute when Cole and Zanab finally met up. They look good together. I liked to where when they first saw each other, they was like, hell yeah, you look great. You look fantastic. And they're kissing and smooching and being affectionate and all that stuff. As he's walking away, he's like, yeah, I'm not turning around. I'm looking at your ass. And she's like, I hope you are. And I'm like, yes, yes, I love all of that. But guys, we are now at the end of episode 2, and we don't know who Nancy is going to say yes to. Is she going to say yes to Bartice or Andrew or Bartice? I hope she says yes to Bartice. Of course, I'm not going to spoil that for you because I know what's going to happen next. But right before Andrew proposed, she seemed like she kind of shot Bartice down. And so this is kind of interesting right here. I cannot wait to talk about the rest of this season and get into all of that. But guys, let me know what you're thinking about right now with the end of episodes 1 and 2. Who are your favorite characters, male or female? Who are your favorite couples? Are you happy with the show? Are you disappointed? Are you somewhere in the middle? Do you agree or disagree with me saying at the beginning that they should show all of the contestants? Just give them a little bit more screen time. I'm curious to know. Let's have this conversation in the comment section below, all of it, because I'm dying to know. I'm super duper curious. Thank you so much for tuning in. But guys, that is just my opinion, and I really do appreciate it. Please give me the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you can also get my recaps of each episode on the rest of the season. Also, guys, if you do subscribe to my channel, you won't just get coverage on Love is Blind Season 3. You will also get movie reviews, like I just reviewed The Curse of Bridge Hollow with Kelly Rowland and Marlon Wayans on Netflix, and also Halloween Ends, Werewolf by Night. You're going to get some spoiler reviews, series reviews like The Watcher that is on Netflix as well, and the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, a weekly movie news roundup show, interviews, Atlanta Season 4, She-Hulk, Disney Plus, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Rings of Power. I'm also always just talking about other TV shows that are currently streaming right now. But guys, again, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.